Hey everybody, this is the Modern Geek, also known as Vamp Mario, and we are back with our Tuesday night Warhammer Payton video. We're back by Pop to Bed, so really this is going to be featuring Games Workshop products. We're going to do some painting of both potentially some 40k stuff and continuing to paint some of our Middle Earth stuff because you guys have talked loud and clear that you want to see us play and do a lot of Middle Earth content. So I'm putting some in the channel. We're going to see how it goes. And what's cool about tonight is that, like always, I'm trying to feature some indie models or independent models in these segments. So we have some indie models as well as plenty of official licensed GW models as well. I like doing that in these series and in my painting because there is a lot of folks out there that I know look for starting points, look for ways to get into different things. And I always like giving you guys options because as a gamer and as a tabletop gamer, there is a lot of things out there. And I don't want you guys to think that you always have to go for the, again, it depends on your snare. It depends on where you're playing. It depends on the rules in your community or local shop. All of those things are going to determine if one of the options we display... Oh, geez. That will always determine if one of the options that we showcase is going to be better or worse for you. It all really depends on like I said, what your local place has to offer and what they kind of allow. Because some places let you proxy. Some places don't. Some places are really strict about non-licensed models, so it's like kind of a crapshoot. But we're going to continue painting some of our Hobbit models. We're going to also be painting the Lords of Voltan, which are the current addition to the 40k universe. They are what I consider squats to be. If you are an older 40k player, you might remember when squats were a thing in 40k. They kind of are that modern equivalent. And we're going to review and take a look at some models and kind of continue working on the models we're working on. Before we look at some of the models we're going to be painting tonight and we're going to be going through, I just wanted to showcase another model company, which I have good news. My order from them is coming, so we'll be having some more models in the segments, so you'll be able to see more of their range. What's cool is that I'll be actually doing some terrain painting, and now that I have the other studio set up, we have a great way and area to do that in. So I'm super excited because you guys can see how we customize that. But you may notice below, so when I keep saying there are links below to a lot of this stuff, there are, if you go to the channel, there are panels there. You have links to quite a few different things, some of them being my own personal links and website, but some of them are also some of our sponsors, and some of the companies that we're kind of showcasing for this month, which is till the 31st of October. RPP Printing, which made this model you see right here, which we actually have a video. It was last week on Monday. We actually spotlighted this because we're going to be using him in an upcoming campaign, potentially, and possibly another custom campaign that we're going to be doing. But this is, of course, the 10th Doctor, which is some of the random models that he has. Quite a lot of D&D models if you are looking for stuff for your D&D table, and lots and lots of terrain. So if you need terrain for your Age of Sigmar or even your D&D setting, some great terrain there. You might even be able to pull off some of it for 40k if you have like maybe an older settlement or you have something where like there's farmland or whatever. You might be able to pull off some of it for that as well if you're a little creative, because you can always customize this terrain with hobbying. But we painted this up. I'm really excited, and again, if you use the discount code VAMPMario, and that's again for RPP Printing, you can get 10% off your order, and that is for the month. That's through the rest of the month, and we'll be spotlighting some more models from them, and that link is below. I also want you to check out a second link, which is to Undiscovered Realms, which is where I get all my other hobbying materials, supplies, all of the official GW models for the most part that I get come from there. So they are amazing, they are awesome, and I want them to be supported as well. So you can check out both of those links. There's also a tip/donation button. There's also a link to my website and other things. So check it out. And I will also, while we're at it, get you guys hooked up with. I'm going to throw it into the chat, which is a. Which is a link to our Discord server. You can jump on there and become part of the community as well. All right, I've done a lot of spiely advertising for the beginning of the video, my intro. But we have, again, more, so Lord of the Rings stuff. This model, Bilbo, being from GW. This model on the other side, we'll talk a little bit more about where that is from. But we will be painting that at some point today. And then let's focus on the Lords of Voltan. So this is one of the lords that I printed up. This is actually the character that you get in the Lord of Voltan box. These models are amazing. They're just so detailed. You can see the power Bolton sword there, which is awesome. Went with a sort of on brand for the color scheme that is on the packaging, but I kind of did a twist to it. Put a little bit more ornate silver and gold bits than they had. As I said it before, I think, so essentially, if you've played 40K for a long time, you will know what I'm saying, which is that the world and realm was supposed to be the future of fantasy. It was supposed to be fantasy set in the future, and they were in space. So, the Lords of Voltan are, as I said, squats. And squats, and this is going to be the model we're going to take a look at now. This is one of, like, the sergeants. I love that shield. It's so cool. The model is so detailed. Yeah, so they're kind of the modern day equivalent to squats. So squats were dwarves. They were space dwarves, and that's what I'm kind of painting them as, and that's what I'm kind of leaving their color scheme as, and that's why I wanted to make lots of their stuff ornate with gold. So it's like kind of, again, like if dwarves made armor, made spacesuits, it would look like it was forged and it had jewels and gems in it and things like that. So that's the aesthetic I'm going for with them. So it's very, very cool. I'm very, very excited. And let's just get to it. And we'll just keep going. Now, what you guys can do... Oh, hey, camera. We're going to get a better close-up cam. My close-up cam has trouble focusing. This is kind of a temporary cam. This was something I was trying to get me back into the show, because I know when I painted at this area in my studio, I wasn't necessarily being represented, and I was trying to fix that. So we'll definitely take a look at that. And I'm using Asthmatic Blue is the blue that I'm using for the base armor. There's another reason I'm using this blue, and it sort of goes hand in hand with the idea that these are the dwarves, or they're space dwarves. My Blood Bowl team of dwarves that I have, I actually use the same colors. So I was actually trying to match the armor as if they were descendants of those fantasy dwarves. And it's kind of funny. It's funny that in general, as I said, the I find it funny that they are just even on the box, that is the blue that they chose to use. So it just kind of shows how even GW sort of supported my decision on how I wanted to paint all this stuff, which I think is pretty awesome. So now what I'm gonna do with the Asthmatic Blue is you're gonna see me, for the most part, just do a coat of it on most of the armor. And then what I did on the other one was, when I wanted to bring out a certain element of the armor, I would just go back with my metallic and just overlay it onto this. Because the nice thing about this Asthmatic Blue is that it's not a very dark color. It's not a very powerful color. So if you want to use um, use this color and then you want to go over it with something else, it's relatively easy to do that, because although the shield and other things does have the same armor plating that the armor has, there's some mechanics and stuff underneath here. So I may not want to do all of that. Like, he's got actual, like, I don't know if you guys can see it, but he's got actual guns mounted to the shield, which I think is insane. The level of detail on these models is bonkers. Like, it is 100% bonkers. It's... yeah, like, they did an amazing job with these. Now, I also say this a lot, which is usually the first model that I paint is always, it always takes me a little bit longer to paint that one. You'll probably see me get through him a lot quicker, just because I've already done a lot of the guessing work. So now that I have one model painted, you know, now I have that color scheme kind of established. So now it'll be a little bit of referencing that model. Well, for the most part, I'm going to speed through because I'm going to know where to put all the paint. And as always, my nose is starting to already... my nose is already starting to clog up. I don't know what it is. And I think it's hilarious that, like I've said before, there are so many YouTubers out there and streamers who, like, comment about how when they go live, their nose just starts to itch or clog up or do something, and it's just crazy. And I should also say on this stream, I can't promise when it's going to start to happen, but I am going to start to simulcast. So obviously you guys here are on Twitch, so I would assume you'll want to keep watching me on Twitch, but we're going to start to simulcast on Twitch and YouTube, because I want to get some more people into the conversation. I was going to say, I think if I remember correctly, I might have, yeah. But yeah, so we're gonna have a whole, I'm gonna start trying to expand, and sooner rather than later, I'm working on a couple of different things that are going to start to be like little shorts or other content. So I'm really, really excited about that. But stay tuned. It's going to be a while till I get it all off the ground, but definitely getting to a point where I have a lot of other things in the pipeline. Oh, man. Yeah, we got a lot of different bits and bobs here. There's a lot of little details, and again, this is gonna be like a kind of a specialty prestige army that I want to make to play with. So like, I'm gonna definitely be having a lot of fun and just like really pimp out these models, because I wanna have a really good force to play with. And because they're newer and a little bit more brilliant, I want to like give them that really nice send off that they have. I'm sorry guys, I may have to blow my nose just because my nose is like super clogged. Oh my god. Oh, I'd be like search of a tissue. Oh wait, I have one. And I was gonna say, please don't be shy to the conversation. I'm sorry that my camera is being a little sluggish. Oh. I'm going to keep that handy in case I have to blow my nose again. Oh my god. Like I said, I have no clue what it is, but it is like natural attraction. The minute I go live, my nose wants to like destroy myself, and it's just crazy. I don't know why. Although today I was feeling a little bit like I was coming on with a cold. I think it might have to do with the temperature changes. I know for me in my area, the like temperature keeps like not making up its mind where it wants to be. So like you have to keep like dressing in different phases, but I don't know. I seem to always be that person that when those weather changes happen, I always get like a light cold or a simple cold. I never seem to never ever seem to get out of the trenches or the woods, you know? And I was going to say, for you folks that are watching us, please consider following the channel. Consider signing up for notifications. I say that because we do a lot of different stuff on this channel. You know, not only do we do, I mean, we do a lot of model painting and model reviews, but there is going to be a lot more content coming to this channel, both on the gaming front. We're also going to start doing more art-related stuff, drawing, other cartooning. So there's going to be a lot of stuff coming, and if you guys are on the train and know when we're live and have those notifications turned on, you'll be in the best possible scenario where you can, you know, be on that content right away. And I do say to people, you know, not only to follow, but to also sign up for the notifications, because I don't know, it's weird how I think Twitch is a wonderful platform, don't get me wrong, and I do value Twitch, but I have seen Twitch be, you know, just people not getting the notifications until much later than we're live. So we'll be on for like a longer period of time, and then all of a sudden I get a big surge of people because that's when the notifications like told them we were live. Because there is just this like natural delay, which I'm a little annoyed that happens because, you know, obviously you guys are coming in maybe mid-content, and for some people, not for everybody, but for some people I know that might be frustrating because, you know, maybe we're on a certain part of the build or a certain part of the So as I said before, I'm going to go a little quicker through this model, but he does present some additional challenges, and I'll show you guys what I mean. And you're actually seeing that area now. So although he does have similar armor to our named character, he also has some unique armor to him. So although I have a roadmap of some of the things I want to do, there is still areas I'm going to have to figure out. But like I was saying before, the good thing about this color is that it's very subdued. So if we use it and we want to, let's say, go over something, or we want to alter something in how it's done, um, it's very easy to do that because it's very easy to cover that color up because it is just a very light color. So we're going to probably end up doing that. I mean, most definitely we're going to do it a little bit because I did it on the other model. So like wherever you see on the plates the little like bolts, I'm definitely going to do those as silver. But what's going to get tricky for him is he has a completely different like armor situation in some areas than the named character did. So which is both going to make it easier in some points, but it's also going to make it harder, and I'll show you what I mean. So it's going to make it easier for like here because it just makes sense for all of this to be the same color. But where it's going to make it hard is when we get to things like some of the like mechanics. But I have an idea of what I'm going to do. To sort of emulate how I did some gray areas and some blue areas, I'm going to do something a little bit different on this side. Because I don't know, with the armor stuff, I do like it when it's a two-tone armor layout usually, where we have another tone playing with that. So what I'm going to do is all of the circle or round disc elements are not going to be this asthmatic blue. They're instead going to be that gray. Which is going to bring gray into more of the model so that when we're doing a lot of the mechanical aspects of the model, or the mechanics to the suit, or to the power armor, it'll like look a little bit better. Because I said it to somebody who I was talking to about these guys. They are effectively, they're like mini Space Marines. They have a very similar look to if you were painting miniature Space Marines, which, going back to the whole idea of them being dwarves, that is kind of how the squats were designed. They basically were small tactical, small tactical Marines. And yeah, so all I'm doing now is I'm just trying to figure out where all my armor pieces are, and what, like I said before, what armor piece, how we're going to do blue versus other colors, and just kind of like getting that as, we're just going to put it over it. I'm going to do that circle, that bolt is a different color. But I just want to get now the tanks and things like that, I'm probably not going to do those in the blue. Basically, anywhere that has has like a design relief, that's going to be the blue. And then I'm going to incorporate some other colors into it. Like I said, I'm just trying to work out a little bit of like where I'm going to put certain things. Because like I said, I have now an idea of what the aesthetic for this army is going to be. But again, because and I said this, I think, on the last stream that we did, where we were looking at the Lords of Voltan. I always paint armies like this, where I take their specialty units, and I always paint the specialty units first, because that's going to set usually the tone for what I want to put in my actual army. Because then my troops, I'm going to do in a slightly different color, but they're going to have remnants of those higher end troopers. And this is a tough game we're playing now. So now I have to get into little crevices as I'm, discovering where and how I want to do things. So, I said this also in the last stream that we did. when you're painting armor, in particular, armor is very pragmatic and practical. So as you're painting your armor, as you're painting the armor, oh, I didn't mean to go in there with the blue. You have to sort of figure out how you're to paint it, and there are rules to it. So, like, when you look at your model, you have to kind of see, how does that armor plate move? What is the armor plate's position? How is it with the model? Because if it has a different direction, and I've had that happen, because of the way a model turns, because of the way a model is, nope, I'm gonna do those feet in a different color. You may have to think of your paint scheme slightly differently. And this is like a great example what I'm doing now, which is when that wraps around, those are connected pieces. So but that bolted piece is not. So I can sort of play around with that being potentially a different color. So you just have to kind of go through it. And see what you want to do, how you want to lay it out. But I will say, I don't know what it is about these particular models, but they just feel very easy to paint. Oh, I did not necessarily want to do that. That was my fault. Yeah, I want to do the boots completely in a different color, so I'm going to have to redo that. Like I said, it's not hard, but you have to, like, you have to sort of plan out what you want to do, how you want to do it. And like I say, always, guys, don't be shy on the chat. Let me know what you're thinking. I love hearing about everybody's different projects and what you're working on. And also, obviously, the other big thing on the docket is, if you guys have questions for what I'm doing or how I'm painting something, please do it. Please post those up there. They are always welcome, and I love it. And I always tell people, don't feel like when you watch me, like, if you ask me a question, you're like breaking my concentration, or I'll get back to the painting. Don't worry. But that being said, I also know firsthand from a lot of the folks that watch me that a lot of folks are watching streams while they paint. So that too is a reality that I've realized. That people out there may not, but I promise, if you guys stick with me and we keep this content going, you're only going to see really cool things moving forward. And I have a lot of really cool plans, and I have a lot of really cool ideas. So please, definitely stick with us and give us a chance. because I truly have just gotten started. We have a lot of really cool, you know, just I have a lot of really cool content plans. And the only way you're going to know about it and the only way you're going to be able to see it and follow us is by following this channel and by jumping on with us. So, all right, I think we got most of our main armor stuff painted for now. I'm gonna play around with those tanks and some of the mechanical bits. So I'm gonna use some Griffin Charger Gray. On those boots. I'm just going to lay that on a little thicker. All right. So all right, so we got our boots done, sort of. And then my idea is to use the Space Wolf Gray for some of the other mechanical elements. And I'm probably going to do silver for the trim of the boots on the bottom. I'm gonna say that this is probably going to be an easier, quicker painted model because I have a pretty have a little bit of a clearer idea of how I'm gonna paint all this. Oh, I just realized there's some opportunity with me to go back in with the blue. But I'm always a sucker for doing like a gray or something for like any mechanical bits that are inside of there. I also like using this for the tubing. Always want to go around all of your tubing, but I love doing the space gray for tubing. Like I said, he's gonna be a little bit of a quicker paint only because I've been like staring at him and really thinking about how I want to paint him. So he's gonna be much more and there's definitely like some space up, and I can see there's some, so I got to go back in and paint some more blue areas because like I said, once you start to look at your model and you kind of see where things are, you might start to realize you have to kind of go into different areas a little bit differently. And I'm sort of realizing that right now, is that I have a couple of blue areas I still have to do. And I would love to know from the folks that are watching us, how easy you think it is to find us. I'm always curious to know a little bit more about what you guys think of our content. Um, all of that good stuff. If you have any insight into that, please let us know. We have a Discord server, which I put a link in the chat to. I would super love it if people were to jump on there and start talking with us. I have some threads for you guys to share your projects, what's on your painting table, a general and news thread, which I'm going to be better about contributing to, because I don't know, I'll be completely transparent with you guys. I had somebody who I thought was going to be posting a little bit more, and not that they haven't, but they've definitely not posted recently a little bit. So I do apologize if you guys were going there finding some cool stuff and then all of a sudden it seemed like it stopped. But we're trying to work through a lot of scheduling stuff right now. So that's why the donation button and the my website, if you want to contact me for commission-based work, or even and that could be in the model department, or even I am an artist, so I do art commissions as well. If you guys are interested in any of those services, by supporting those services, you are in fact supporting the channel as well. So, I've been definitely talking to you guys about it, and I would love that support, because that monetary support is what's going to allow me to get some additional equipment that we're looking to get to do different kind of content. But it also is so I can maybe hire people to be a little bit more involved. So all those wonderful things could happen if we had that support. So, if you guys are out there thinking, oh, you know what, I actually can spare a little bit here and there, awesome. I also have a Patreon for my indie comics. I do have a little bit of them up there now. And the goal is that you guys will start to see more of that process. And we're going to be doing and talking about it on the channel. So if you guys think you could support that as well, we'd love to have you on there. And that is, again, monetary support that helps the channel grow. But the biggest thing that I've asked everybody if they could commit to and, be a part of, is really just coming and being live with us here. If you can do that, if you could be part of our live community and be on the show with us, that would be amazing. Because a few people have stopped by and said the same thing to me, which is, they always ask the same question, which is, oh, are you affiliated? And it's crazy, but I have to say all the time, because it's the answer, we're not. We have a pretty strong community of now 280 followers, but we're just not, we have not hit that affiliate mark. It's crazy. I don't know. It's super crazy to me. I don't understand how we could be that large in size, but not seem to get the mark with and I'd love to also hear from you guys. I know that we put up we put a variety of like different. When I say different, I did some content covering some newer games or some kind of hotter collectible card games and games on the scene. And I'm curious to know what you guys think of that content. You can check those videos out after you're done watching this one. Um, I'm sort of curious to know how you guys, if you enjoyed it, if you want to see more of that content, because at Comic-Con I was lucky enough to meet quite a lot of folks that are making some really cool stuff. Everything from like RPG tools for DMs and for adventures. Um, Again, newer collectible card games. And that would be games such as, if you guys are familiar with MetaZoo, I was able to meet the folks that make that game. And they were super nice, super friendly. And they gave me kind of a little bit more of a background or knowledge to their game, which was kind of cool. So I now have a little bit more of an understanding of like the sort of core, some of the core mechanics of the game, which I thought was really cool. So if you guys would like to see more of that content, I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments. Either in our Discord server or direct or through Twitch. Oh man. So what I'm doing now is I'm just putting in a little bit of Space Wolf Gray. Now, I'm either going to love or hate what I'm about to do. Let's see if I like it. So the idea of the thought was, since there's like guns or mechanics running through the shield, I thought it would be interesting if we made the inner panel the gray, and then we made the outer or like decorative parts of it their colors, or that asthmatic blue that I'm using as the primary color for their armor. But here's where it gets a little tricky. And it's going to be that top part. So I did all of that, but you'll notice when I was painting it, I sort of designated that as not being gray. So we're gonna see if I can just but like I was saying, armor has that tricky business of being, like I said, very practical, because it's all engineered So when you are making something that has mechanical bits and bobs, sometimes it doesn't work out. In this case, it worked out fine because of the way that sloped down, which is great. Again, I'm just base toning it right now so that all of this gets that, like, just gets that gray treatment. I'm going to maybe, again, possibly change the color scheme for this, because I had made on the other one a lot of the weaponry and guns and stuff in the gold. So I might change that. I don't know yet. The hammer, I'm definitely not going to do. I have a different idea for the hammer. The hammer, I'm going to do like a totally different way of doing it. And the canisters on the top, I'm going to do them differently as well. So all I'm doing now is I'm just painting the cup links and the and I was gonna say, guys, because I'm not feeling 100%, I don't know how long I'm gonna do this stream for. But I am surprised because, like I have said before, I'm always intrigued when you guys are a little less in audience, and especially now for Warhammer stuff. I don't know what's going on. I always hope I always get nervous when I see. No, not that we have nobody watching, because we do have people watching, but when I see the numbers a little bit less, I always get nervous that, like, Twitch is maybe, like, blocking me, or, you know. And I used to, I at first, when it first started to happen, I had gotten the nerves that, I think I said at a couple of streams, I was like, Odo, don't tell me that, like, collectible, that, like, miniature games are having a, like a downfall, or they're having, like, issues with people, and I'm like, oh no, don't tell me that. But I do think that that's part of it too, because I can imagine in this world with all of us, like, you know, having to reassess a lot of things, and with the price of things, with things kind of not being the way that they've been, I'm actually glad you know, to know that it's not gaming. It's just, you know, I think it has to do more with the fact, Jesus. There we go. We got our dwarvy guy. Got his hair in there. I love. Basically, if any of you guys have played the dwarven mining game, the space dwarf mining game, that's a lot of what I'm like using as my inspiration when I paint these is a lot of like that type of stuff. So I'm just using the yellow. To do some of the like lighting on their suits, because I like doing those as like little lights. I don't know why I'm starting to do details, but that's okay. I'm like starting to go into details on them, which is not bad to do. It's just that I haven't really based the rest of them, and I was like painting a particular part of them, and I just like stopped. I was doing all of the Space Wolf gray stuff, and then I kind of like went the other way with it, which is kind of funny. And then part of me is also like, am I competing with anything? And I feel like maybe you guys could tell me better, but I thought I read somewhere that GW is doing streaming on these nights, but I kind of started this on time, which I know a lot of my viewers are international. So I'm wondering if that's another reason I'm not seeing the same amount of people I normally see, because a lot of them are like hoping that I stay on a little bit later. But then also, I know lately I've had some people. I feel like we just have, which I'm happy about. We've had like a lot of people just like, I guess, watch the video after it was live, and have decided to follow us. So that's like really cool too. And again, my moral of my story is just, if you guys enjoy it, please come and be with us. But I'm definitely going to try some things to push our channel a little bit further than it has been. And part of the reason that it hasn't gone further is partially because the reality is I'm just super swamped for time. And so I don't even know how I stream as much as I do. But the other piece to streaming, which anyone out there that is thinking of streaming or starting to create your own content, I think the part that nobody tells you is not the content you're going to make and how long that is, which that is time. But it's also the fact that it's also the fact that you have to, like, there's all these other hours of like advertising and getting things set up and and if you're working with other people, there's a lot of other coordinating that has to happen there too. So the part that nobody tells you is that you have a lot of prep work to do. And honestly, the thing that I don't do enough of is the promotional part. So like, I have my stream listed. I have, obviously, if you go to our channel page, the schedule's up there, but that's all well and good and great if the people that are going to watch you can find you. And because we're not affiliated yet, um, it is much harder to find our channel. So, you know, we are not in the public eye as much as we would like to be, because of that. So, you know, that's what makes it hard. I think they have, damn it. I think they have gloves with fingertips to them. Which, if that's true, I'm going to have to redo him too. I didn't realize that they had gloves with fingertips. All right, so I'm going to just do the whole thing in that color. Just so I have that color on there. But yeah, I always do like a panic 360 whenever I feel like our audience is maybe a little bit smaller than it normally is. Because I always think that, like, is this the day where, you know, Twitch or GW or like somebody is like effectively like destroying my stream, or like you know, is this the day where I've broken a rule, I've done something wrong? You know, I always kind of think that way. Which is probably a bad way to think, but it's hard not to. And part of why it's hard not to is that there was a moment in there where GW was being very aggressive. To people that were, you know, streaming their content. You know, when they had launched, and probably a lot of you, maybe some of you are, if you're watching the stream, part of their Warhammer Plus, or when they launched that service, they got very, very aggressive with anyone that was streaming that kind of content. Because they wanted to, you know, the theory behind the why was, well, they were launching a service, so they didn't want, they honestly just didn't want the competition, and they wanted to run a lot of the bigger people kind of out of the market. Some of them they did like inevitably hire and partner with, which is some of it too. But there were quite a lot of people that were getting, like, you know, cease and desist letters from GW that were like, don't, you know, please don't stream anymore, or don't use our, you know, don't use our content. And so, like, whenever I see my viewership like change, or we get like a little less people that are coming for like a painting video or coming for different things, I'm always like, uh-oh. I'm like, is this the day where GW was like, well, we want him to stop doing what he's doing. We're suspending him. You know, that's it. Oh, man. We've done at least an hour. And now I'm putting on the Exalted Gold, which is a gold you typically use for like Stormcast Eternals. It's usually the gold that you use for their armor for my AOS players that are out there. I know we said that we were going to do Middle Earth painting, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do more. I may stop on this model and go further. There is one thing I want to do. I'm just getting all this gold done now. So again, the reason that I use the gold is because my aesthetic for this army is, like I said, the concept that they're using their ancestral dwarven gold in their armor, which, you know, we'll say gives them maybe imbued powers in the lore that I'm going to write for them, which is not their original, is not their actual lore. I mean, it's interesting. Their lore is it does echo some of what I'm saying. Because, like I said, they are, for lack of a better term, they are the modern equivalent to what squats were in the original 40K. Now I gotta wait for this gold to dry, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some null oil on top of it, which I did with the other one, and it just strengthens it. It puts the detail back in, so when you do the gold on top, there's markings and things inside of these like Celtic ruins that you get back when you put the null oil back into it. And you can already see the basic color scheme like making its way through. Now, I tend to do this, which is group the paints that I've used together, especially if I'm coming back to a project, because I'll be able to do that. Wow. Oh, boy. Yeah, on these longer days, it's a little tough to do these streams. I'm not going to lie. I'm doing just Apothecary White. Basically, for the tanks, I want to give them just a gray sheen for right now. And then I'm probably going to expand on this and put in some more color. But for right now, I think this is going to look really nice. And again, it's this idea of doing variation on my grays. I want to have different grays in here, because I don't want to do just the same two. And then, like I said, I'll come back in more than likely with some silver bits. and other things. Oh, that's funny. I didn't paint that one yet. And again, I may even go back over some of the elements of this. So like on the top part, I may go back over that top, with, let's say, a Space Wolf Gray, so that that dot there has variation, which will just make it look very cool. And this is something I started to do more of, which is just taking a color and just basing it and then kind of pulling other colors into it, especially with the contrast, because I've gotten some really cool effects where I've had, I haven't necessarily had I haven't had the plan in mind at the beginning, but then once I see how colors lay, because they are, with the contrast, it's additive mixing. So like when you layer another color on top of it, they're transparent, so you see through to the bottom. And sometimes that's caused some really cool variations that I really like. Do the same thing for this guy. Just base them all on that, because he's a decorative element. He's not an actual skull. If he was an actual skull, I would have more than likely, what I would have done for him was I would have used the skeleton horde for the skull. And you guys will see what I'm going to do. I'm going to base it in the apothecary white, but then I'm going to go back in and put some gold on the actual ram. I have to do some more gold in some places. And I still haven't figured out what I want to do for that spine yet. I'll show you guys what we're going to do with this. And like I said, please do not be strangers to the chat. Let us know what you think. All right, we're painting the Lords of Voltan. All right, you guys are going to keep me going. I know you will. And I'm going to try. We're going to actually probably switch gears and go into a... I might start doing a Lord of the Rings model while we let him dry for a minute. But you guys can see we're painting the second model from our force of the Lords of Voltan. Just trying to get our bearings, get our color scheme right. My Lords of Voltan, I'm going for a more traditional color scheme, but you'll notice a little bit more pushing the ornate part of the army. So I am kind of using the theory and thought process that they are descendants of dwarves in space. And so I'm making them have a lot of prestige, a lot of gold on them. And the idea is that they're using the gold of their ancestors to kind of make their space armor, which I thought would be kind of cool. In their lore, they are 100% not supposed to be space dwarves anymore. But I'm making mine that way. So even for the weapons, I'm trying to make them out of, like, again, gold or bronze. So it just shows that they're, like, using that. And I wanted to make them specifically out of more like a bronze, because it's like the weapon is, like, older. So, like, again, they, like... I'm using Balthazar gold for this part. And I know that GW really doesn't want to call them squats anymore or space dwarves, but if you look at the models and the details on them, it's like very obvious that they are supposed to be kind of a dwarf equivalent, because they have what looks like ruins. Their weapons are like hammers and swords. They're very like, again, they look like a fantasy dwarf in a space universe. They really do look that way. So if GW was like trying not to make them look that way, they're doing a pretty horrible job. Because I always say that to people that might be new to 40K, but for all of us original 40K players, that's what the story of 40K was. It was that the fantasy factions and characters that you knew in that you knew in Warhammer Fantasy, 40K was just them in the future. And that's why if you look at your forces in 40K, you can trace them all back to fantasy factions. If you go like the original fantasy factions. Not AOS. AOS is where everything changed, because in AOS, the whole idea of AOS is that they deliberately got rid of the fantasy world because they wanted to create new factions so they could essentially own the rights to them. Because in this day and age, you can't own the rights to a goblin, you can't own the rights to an orc. All of those terms are general terms now. They no longer are like held by a copyright or a agreement, so they are fair game. So, and that's part of why GW didn't like fantasy, because they had based all of their fantasy, again, goblins were goblins, they weren't gits, orcs were orcs. So, now they had made a fantasy game which was popular and successful, but they couldn't own any of the things in it, because and that's why companies like Mantic Games, everybody else, like, you can, for people out there that are Kings of War players and play other systems and games, that's why you can go to a different gaming company and buy an orc, because you can't copyright the word orc. Which, again, if for my newer players out there, if you ever wondered why orc is spelt weird in GW, that's the reason why. It's spelt differently than the word really is, because by misspelling it, or by coming up with a derivative spelling of it, they can copyright the derivative. They can't copyright the word orc, but they can copyright the derivative. So for people's fun facts of the day, that is a fun fact. I was going to say, for the folks that are in the chat, do not be shy. Please say and tell us what you're up to. Love to hear about what you're painting. Love to hear what's on your painting table. even love to hear what faction you play. Are you guys yourselves painting up your Lords of Voltan? Do you find this faction interesting? Do you want to play it in a game? Are you intrigued and interested in where you might see this faction go? They already came out, and we actually posted them in our Discord chat, but they already came out with modified rules for them because they were so overpowered when they came out. So they already... oh, I missed gold on one of those. I think that's kind of crazy that they already nerfed the army. And the army has only been in the game for like less than a month. I mean, if you count playtesting time as part of that. I just thought that was crazy, and I thought that was hilarious that they like already had so many players complain about the army that they like already changed the stats of it. And it's like sort of funny how they did it, which is, I mean, so to kind of sum up the changes, really what they did, I think, was adjust point values. So that was one, which probably means I haven't looked at the new updated rules yet. But that probably means you could have less. You probably are not going to be able to put on the field as many units as you once were able to, and that's probably the way that they're quote unquote controlling part of the problem, because probably what part of the problem was like, I'm gonna guess, because they have a rule that makes them like auto hit and have like auto sixes at one point. I'm gonna guess that what they did with that, I guess that what they did is they put less on the field so that rule's not as like crippling. Because that's what's crazy about GW is that they'll do things like that. Like they'll introduce, but that happens pretty much every time they introduce a faction. Anytime they introduce a faction, that faction is always the best faction. And then what'll happen is they'll then they'll release they do an update every year for point values and lists and everything. And usually in that list, so in that update for the year, they'll just like swap everybody. They'll make everybody's points different. They'll like change things around a little bit, and usually that variation will that book will help to like that book will help to like bring everything it'll help to bring everything like back to normalcy, and then everybody's kind of not equal, but it definitely like makes the new faction not as like overbearing as it was. But they do that every year, so it sounds like what they probably did was just bring out some of those rule changes for them now rather than waiting. If I had to guess, without looking, or without having taken the time to look at it. But yeah, I'd love to know, what are you guys working on? Let me hear from the crowd. What's on your painting table? Or if nothing is currently on your painting table, what's the last thing you painted? Or if you haven't painted anything in a while, what is the what is the model, or what is the faction, or what is the thing in the GW universe that you yourself, oh, that's what I was going to paint, that you yourself are dying for, waiting for, want to see. I mean, I know there's supposedly all this Blood Bowl stuff coming out, which I will say that I am very, very excited about. But as the fact that GW has not said anything about any of it and is keeping us all in suspense about it, I'm a little concerned about it. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's that they're going to be releasing the Amazon team for Blood Bowl, which I am super looking forward to. But they've been very... oh, sorry guys. My camera's been doing that lately. I don't know why it's doing that. I'm going to have to do some... Actually, I have a theory as to why it's doing it, so I might actually know the answer. I say that I don't. I think I might know why it just did that. But I do apologize. Hopefully it won't happen again. So all I'm doing now is I'm going and retouching that color. Now I'm not stuck, but I am definitely trying to figure out what I want to do with certain elements of the model. So now I'm just experimenting with like bringing in color in certain places. I think that looks better. Because like a lot of the more like detailed mechanic stuff, I'm sort of figuring out where I want to go with it, you know, because this is like where the model kind of gets its custom, like you kind of customize your experience with it. Because I have a couple of different ideas for things. I'm going to do snake bite on this. So it's got a little bit more of like a Thor looking hammer vibe. I love the browns for the contrast paints. So like the skeleton horde, the griffin, the snake bite leather, all of those are wonderful. The browns are just so strong in this line of paints, and I just love them. I use them interchangeably. I don't always... I use them for a variety of different things. So I'll use them for skin tones. I'll use them for straps. I'll use them for bones or remains. I really do use them for like everything, because they just have a lot of uses. And I alternate, because I do use them for skin tone. You know, I'll use some of them. Sometimes I use the griffin, the skeleton horde. Sometimes I use the the Gilliman flesh. I don't usually use snakebite, although I have used it once. Like I'm going to use Gilliman right now. Now the only thing about Gilliman, which I always say when I use it, is that it likes to come on very, very strong. So I usually put some on and then I go for a wash, because like I'll put a little bit of it on and then I'll take the brush and I'll just like wash it on, because it can come on real intense, and I don't want that, because then what it does to the skin tone is it makes the skin tone it makes the skin tone come off very, very dark. I don't want to do that. Now, depending on the model and the face, sometimes I get away with just doing one pass of this and that's it. That was too much water. I tried to go too much water on that one because I'm just trying to grab a very tiny amount of paint. So I was trying to avoid doing exactly what I just did. These guys have very, very tiny eyes. Holy crap. They have super small eyes. So you guys can see the face looks a lot better. But it is a tough fit in there, and it's definitely a tough paint, and it's very, very tiny detail. So probably I'm doing this all with the naked eye right now. But I'm gonna definitely. Oh, sorry guys. I'm gonna definitely try. I'm probably gonna use my magnifiers when I gotta do some more of the details in there, because although I am doing pretty gosh darn well actually, without it I got to get those eyes back on track, and that's going to definitely need magnifiers. It actually looks pretty good. It actually doesn't look too bad with what I did already, so I'm actually impressed with myself. Not to self-promote and pat myself on the back there, but and I should also mention the reason I am so critical of stuff like that. I know I'm like not in frame at all. We're gonna get a better camera for the close-ups, but the reason I say that fact about me is that I mean, I am super critical, which that is true. I am super critical of my painting, which most artists of any kind, whether it's drawing, painting, even this stuff, model painting, you tend to be critical of yourself. You tend to be self-doubting of your ability. And as I say, for the people that are regulars and watch us a lot, I'd love to know what your thoughts are if I was gonna toy around with the idea of starting the starting of the videos at 11:30 rather than 10 o'clock, and I'm curious to know what you guys think about that. So what if we were live at 11 rather than at 10? Because I feel like so, sorry guys, clearly the app on my phone is dying. So I may have to try to consider sorry guys. No, don't leave. I'm gonna be back in just a second. All right, we're back. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know why it decides to do that. What the hell was I doing? I was doing feet. So yeah, I'm curious in the chat if you guys think it would be better for us to start at 11 rather than starting at 10 o'clock. I don't know what your thoughts are. I don't know what you guys think about that. But I would love to know. And also, while we're on the subject of cool stuff, I'm going to do the rest of this shoe and then we're going to talk. But for folks that are watching the stream and have followed and have signed up with us, reminder, there's a link below for RPP printing. And they were so nice enough. Now, this model we're painting now is a GW model. It is not one of their official models, but I do have models coming from them that we're going to review and do. If you want to go back a couple of videos, last week's Monday video, we painted this guy up, which is the 10th Doctor, which we're going to be using in a custom campaign coming up, one of our D&D campaigns, or 5th edition campaigns. And I will not explain more as to how he could be possibly involved. But this is from, again, RPP Printing. Great model, very inexpensive, great sculpt, easy to paint, wonderful. But if you go to that link below and you use the code VAMPMario, you can actually score yourself 10% off your Etsy order. They have a ton of models and terrain. A lot of, I will say that it is good for the fantasy setting. You could use some of the terrain, I would say, for maybe if there's like a rural area in your space or modern day campaign, you can probably get away with it. But of course, if you're doing a D&D campaign, you have a lot of great models to choose from there. Or if you're doing an Age of Sigmar battle, you could definitely use that terrain there as well. And again, if you use the coupon code VAMPMario, and that's going to be through the end of October, you guys can score yourselves some money off that Etsy shop. And please, if you are considering, if you do D&D or you do need some terrain from your tabletop, please do consider going and checking them out and supporting them, because if I can, get us to be that awesome community for them, one, you're helping a small business, which is always good. And then two, you can also what was I gonna say? Blah. Things are bad. Two, by supporting that incentive and that promo that we're doing, it definitely will allow me to possibly do more promos in the future. And as they grow and as they offer more things, you guys can be a part of that as well. And if I could help a shop like his expand and grow, that would be awesome. And I think that would be something that would be great, because then maybe other Etsy shops that which I want to put on the record, every Etsy shop that I've dealt with and ordered from has been terrific and wonderful. But more Etsy shops might be like, oh, hey, I can see how you helped out this other shop. I want that help too. Let's do some cool stuff together. So I want to grow us as a community, and if you guys can do so, that would be amazing. And then also, it goes without mentioning while we're talking about sponsors or supporters that there is another link down there, which is Undiscovered Realms. That is where I got these official GW models and all my painting supplies and such. You too can go and get some stuff from them. They are my local shop, or a shop I frequent. So you guys can go and check them out. They have some great stuff. So that would be amazing if that happened too, because I also want to give them some love and support. And they ship anywhere in the United States. And I should have asked that question for RPP Printing, if they also ship internationally. I don't know if they do. You'll have to just follow up with them on that. All right. So now I'm doing some of the silver bits, and this is what I was talking about before, which is, some of it I obviously, have a plan for it to either be silver or not be silver. But then some of it I sort of think about in the moment, like, when I'm thinking about the mechanics or I'm thinking about different aspects of the model, I'm like, what to me either looks like or does not look like it should be metallic. And I try to vary it up. But there's certain things that kind of make more sense. I think it'd be fun if these gun barrels inside the shield, if they were silver, because again, it just brings a little bit more depth and intrigue into the model. I mean, how can you not love a faction that literally has gun shields? I mean, come on. Yeah, so all of the guns or the protruding pieces, I'm just going to brush the metal on that. And again, metal colors work really well if you kind of layer them on top of color. But you can already see just how awesome this is looking. I mean, we aren't even not that we're not even close to done, but now this is the fun part, is when you start to get to these little details, I feel, because then this is where you start to bring, I think, a lot of the life to your model. I don't know if you guys agree. But I think when you get to this level and this point, you start really kind of getting that cool stuff to happen. And he's gonna start to look more, he's gonna look more lived in, he's gonna look more which I think is pretty awesome. And yeah, like I said before, all of these little, all those little bolts I'm going to do in silver. I'm not going to do them now, but I just want to remind sometimes I do little things like that, and it's more to remind myself that this is what I'm going to be doing, or this is how I'm going to be doing something. And I actually want to... I know, and I'm sorry, guys, if you're tuning in to try to see Middle-earth stuff. I just got on a roll with this guy, and I was like... And I know I put in the title, I'm like, Middle Earth. And I'm like, we talked about Middle Earth stuff. And then I just kept going and going on this guy. I mean, you guys are still here, so I'm assuming you're enjoying it, but I just wanted to, like, make sure I said that, because I'm like, I don't want you guys to think I'm like, you know, false advertising streams. Alright, so I think I'm going to let him dry. Just for a minute. And then why don't we bring in our Goblin King. So now the Goblin King, or actually, before I bring in the Goblin King, let's bring in Frodo. Bilbo Baggins, which we were painting. Oh my god, I forgot how tiny this is. I forgot how small the Middle Earth scale is, because it's not, they're not, I think they are still 32 millimeter, or they're 28, because they're definitely a heck of a lot smaller. Okay, I'm going to try to give you guys the best view. So basically what I want to paint on him, so we actually painted most of him, and he's actually pretty much done. I want to show you one thing we're going to do with his sword, but the part that now is going to become very challenging is painting his eyes. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to re-whiten his eyes. Now his eyes are super tiny. And I'm going to be honest, most people who do model painting, so eyes, oh Jesus. Okay, so we now have two distinct eyes in there. I was able to get. All right, now here comes the fun part. I have no clue how I'm going to do a pupil, because I'm going to explain why I don't know how I'm going to do a pupil. So, oh. So contrast paints are very liquidy. They're not very. Make sure I've got that on my finger. I'm going to leave it as is. There's no way I'm going to be able to do that. He actually has one less eye than the other. That's crazy. Okay. So what else do I need to do on you to make you... Alright, I think we're just going to work on your sword and then call it a day for you, because you're so tiny that I don't think there's anything else I could do for you. Alright, so what I wanted to do was take this blue, which we used on his sword, and I wanted to take some of this. This is one of the newer contrast colors. I wanted to take some of the white, because what that's going to do is it's going to, yeah, there we go. It's going to act as like a bonding agent, because this blue, let's see what happens when I have this blue, if I can make something happen. So what I want to try to do is I want to try to create so what I'm trying to create, which I think I just did successfully, is a light effect that makes this sword look like it's glowing. Because when he's in the presence of orcs or goblins, the sword, or in the case of him, it's actually a dagger, which you learn in the book, that because he has such a small stature. He since he has such a small stature, a dagger is like a sword to him. I might have to wait until that dries, although I think I got it to happen over here. So you guys can kind of see what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get it to have that blue tint, and then I just introduced a white area to it, or a lighter area to one side. So I think that's going to cause it to be done for Bilbo, because if I get that lighting effect, I just want to do one more thing to it, and then we're going to be good. So I'm going to leave him to dry, and now we'll bring our Goblin King. So the Goblin King is not from, I have to remember where he's from. Okay. So the Goblin King is not an official Games Workshop model. They do make an official Goblin King, and I'll be quite transparent and honest with you guys. A lot of the Middle Earth models are very expensive. So I particularly have looked for alternatives to get some of those models, because I do want to do more of a campaign style play. They do campaign missions in the book, but we're going to actually play this game. So I was trying to sort of balance our costs and get some Etsy models. Now also, this is from Modest Mini Studios, which they have some really, really beautiful models as well. So if you're looking for models for a campaign, or you're looking for models for different things, they also have some great stuff. So, again, we do have some official sponsorships with other guys, but I can't pass up opportunities to display. And I love talking about alternative model companies, or alternative ways to get models, because there are so many different models out there. And I just, it can be a great way to start your gaming sessions. And we're going to focus a lot in this channel for like beginning DMs and beginning folks, because I'm using Gilliman for the staff, because I want to show people like different ways to start, different ways to create their campaign setting, and just different ways to plan, because in this day and age, we're all running around with a ton of things on our plate, and the world is just always changing. And not all of us, some of us may be in situations where maybe your local gaming store is not back to where it needs to be for you to be able to play adventures all the time, or to do things all the time. So like, you may need to use online tools, or you may need to use other ways to generate. And maybe even for yourself, maybe your gaming group has gotten smaller, and now you have to become a DM. And for you, that's scary, and it's off-putting, and you feel overwhelmed by the process. Well, we're gonna go over tools and different ways to do that, so you guys can maybe feel more confident. So if you like all of the things, or some of the things, or most of the things I'm saying, you should 100% decide to follow the channel, because we're going to have a lot of great content coming your way. And the only way you're going to know about it is if you are part of our community. And the way you could repay us and the way you could be amazing parts of our community is one simple thing, and that is coming and seeing us when we're live. If more and all of our viewers did that, we would be even further to our goals and being able to do even more interesting shows. So, please be a part. And if you already are, thank you all for being that. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart of being excellent, awesome people and being a part of this community. And you can also check out our Discord, which we do have a Discord server that you could be a part of. It's actually in the chat. If you guys want me to, I can pop the link back up, the invite. But I was going to say, for the folks that already have decided to be a part of our family and our channel, if you think there are other people in your life that would benefit from this content or want to see some of our content or would even find our content interesting, share the content wherever you think makes the most sense. Put us out there, get us to your friends, get us to your other family, and have them enjoy this as much as you do. Because I know I enjoy you guys. And I say it all the time, but you're the most, you know, it's been interesting to stream because I've said it a few times over. The community of people that are here and just having this opportunity to be a part of that community with you. You guys have helped me monumentally. You have created probably the best motivation I've ever had to paint. You've given me the best motivation to be creative, because without you guys, wouldn't be able to do all of it. I've said it on other streams, but I don't think people realize how much having a forum or an audience has forced me to have to paint. Like, it's the old me would be sitting here trying to, definitely paint, but probably wouldn't be painting as fast. I wouldn't be getting models completed as quickly as I am now. You all definitely made me faster as a painter because now I'm doing it every week. Like in the time that I normally would stream 2 hours, we almost got 3 models finished, and further along on them. So, and you guys did that. You made that happen. So, thank you. And we're gonna be really hitting the model painting scene big, because all of the models that we paint live with you guys are going to be, we're using them all in different future programs. So I want to get them definitely done, so we can keep moving forward. Now, what's crazy is, last time I was using frame of reference for this, I kind of remember what he looks like, so I'm not... Oh, is this just one hair? Oh, that's crazy. I thought it was, like, more hair. But I know he doesn't have a lot of hair. He has, like, I'm going to have to redo that, because the gray won't come through. Yeah, the Goblin King, which is voiced by one of my favorite British actors, actually. So I used this shade for the flesh, which is... Was this what I used? I'll know in a minute when I put it on. I don't think this is it. Let's see. Oh, this is a gloss. Oh, this was it. I did not know this was a gloss. Alright, so there's good news and bad news to glosses. I mean, it actually works well for this, because he is supposed to be shiny. I didn't realize this was a gloss. Oh, god damn it. So glosses can be problematic. I'll explain the reason why they might be. Glosses can be problematic because, if I remember correctly, I mean, this will be okay because it's his base skin tone, and I should be able to paint on top of it. But I'll show you why they're... Yeah, they work the same way. Alright, this will be okay. Because this was an experiment. Because when I was trying to figure out the best way to do his, like, his tone, I was like, how am I going to do this? And then, like, I kind of saw I had this gloss. Now, let me just explain glosses for a minute. I'm not using this gloss the way it's intended at all. You're not supposed to use glosses as base tones. You're supposed to use glosses on top of a base tone. So you're supposed to paint it with a real color and then do that. But what I'm finding has been interesting, and it's been kind of a different way to work than probably people are used to, is with the contrast paints in particular. I've been using a lot of like these kind of weird experiments where I'll take like a shade or a gloss and I'll put it down and then I'll overlay the contrast on top of it, and it's like it's gotten me some like very interesting results that I really have liked. So even though it is not appropriate, as in it's not what they were intended for, it kind of works, because it's more paint that's not, because what you're putting down is very light. It allows you to play with tones. It allows you to do all that stuff. So it actually works out really well. In the case of him, that gloss actually looks very good for his skin. So it actually looks good. Now I'm going to put in some other color to make it a little bit more interesting. Because I want to fade some stuff. But the gloss actually does like the trick. It like really does. It brings out tone. It brings out different detail, and it just works for his skin because his natural skin color is very pale, and so the gloss, just by being not a opaque paint, it's just giving him that tint or shade. And then I figured I could just build on that, which I'm going to. So it actually is working out really, really well. It like never goes on, and it actually gives you a nice uniform tone too, which is the other thing that's nice about it. But I'm just like free riffing it right now, or I'm just kind of like putting in a bunch of stuff. Now, credit to the model, and again, this is Modest Mini Studios. Like, they just have he has really good models, and the sculpt is really good for it. So, and again, all of the companies I keep talking through and talking about, I should also mention, like, and I think I already said it. I said, like, I'm deliberately looking for very like cost-effective methods. They are like, all of these companies are really, really cost-effective, and they give you really nice, what I consider really nice quality models for very little cost. So, you know, you can buy a good chunk and have some really awesome dynamic stuff for very little out-of-pocket expense, and it gets you a little further. I'm just cleaning up all my paints because I had way too many things in one spot. Now, I don't know why, but Skeleton Horde for teeth, that's like become my staple. I always do Skeleton Horde. I like making for like my teeth, my gritty teeth. So whenever I have a monster, I always do like Skeleton Horde for teeth. And then I'll usually put like null oil on top of it or something like that. No, I didn't actually put. And that's what I was remembering about glosses. Sometimes glosses can ruin your brushes. That's the other thing. So you have to be like careful. Just gonna go into the front here. I don't remember what color his crown is. Oh, what time are we running? Oh, wow. All right, guys. I think that's going to wrap it up for tonight. If you like what you saw and you think that this was an amazing stream, thank you for that compliment. And please consider following us on Twitch and signing up for notifications. The best compliment you can give us in the world is to be live with us. So again, just as a review, what we did tonight, we got quite far on our second Lords of Voltan model. We got another one kind of ready to go and definitely further through, and got that paint scheme going for him, which was great. Just a reminder, this is what we're going for. This was the one that we completed. You can watch the video of that on the channel. I'm loving how these guys are coming out. They look awesome. So, like I said, I'm really going to take my time with this faction because I really want to make this faction nice and custom and big. We did a little tiny work on a very tiny little man, Bilbo Baggins. We got a little bit more into light effects on that dagger of his, which we thought was pretty cool. I'm going to do a little bit more to it, but you could already see it's got that nice glow to it. I'm definitely going to put some silver on the hilt of it so it will look a little bit nicer. So we're going to finish him up. Actually, you know what? Bonus content. We're going to put silver on right now. It's like a 2-second detail. He's like a 2x0 model. I think I can put silver on his sword. So we're just going to... Of course, when I go to do this, this is going to be the hardest thing I did all night. So we're just going to put silver on the hilt. And then we're just going to silver this all up. Because I think that'll help. It's so small, this sword. Oh my god. Sorry guys if I'm not showing you the angle. I have to hold it because I don't have it on a pedestal. I have to hold this at the weirdest. Alright, there we go. Beautiful. Sword is done. Alright. Okay. It's like 2x0 little sword. But that'll help. That'll help to make it look like it's blade on fire. That it's lit. And then we also worked on our Goblin King. We started to get some more details, started to do some of the pustules, cleaned up his skin tone a little bit, started to get some more of those details in. And again, I want to say thank you to Modest Mini Studios for wonderful models like this. I want to say a thank you to bleh, Undiscovered Realms for being the place that I get all my official licensed models for GW and all my Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff, all that great stuff. Thank you guys for being a part of that. And there's a link below. They'll ship anywhere in the United States. Check them out. Support them. They're a great shop. And they have Funko. They have all kinds of other great stuff. Even the MetaZoo cards that I did an unboxing of, they have those as well. So all super cool, all super great. And then also, I want to say again for my viewers and people that follow, we have that promo going with RPP Printing. If you use the code VampMario, you can get 10% off your order on Etsy. Here's an example of one of the models we painted. We've got more models coming, which we're going to review. So please take a look. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing that he offered my viewers, and I want to make sure you guys take advantage of it. And the way you can find out more and the way to get more giveaways like that is to come and tune into the channel. You can check out my website and Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you at the next video. Take care, everybody.